I have been pretty critical of Omega for a few years now, and I stand by a lot of my gripes. But I think I spend too much time talking about what they get wrong, and not enough time talking about what they get right. Omega deserves a lot of respect, so today, let's give them their flowers. I wasn't sure if I should start here. I know coaxial is a bit more of a technical feature, but Omega really bet it all by adopting this escapement system, and I don't think they receive enough credit for how big of a deal that was. First of all, getting into the deep weeds of the escapement, your watch has a mainspring storing energy. The energy travels through the gear train, but it simply can't be released all at once, and that's what the escapement does. It controls that release, delivering tiny measured impulses to the balance wheel while allowing the hands to move forward at the correct rate. For centuries, the dominant solution in watchmaking has been the Swiss lever escapement, and for good reason. It is robust and relatively straightforward to manufacture, but it is not perfect. It comes with two major drawbacks. The teeth of the wheel slide across the jeweled pallet. Sliding creates friction, which means a lot of lubrication is required. Leading to problem 2. The oil inside a mechanical watch doesn't remain perfectly stable long term. It ages, migrates, and changes viscosity, affecting timekeeping and servicing intervals. The legendary watchmaker, George Daniels, developed the solution we now call coaxial in the 1970s, drawing inspiration from earlier movement concepts, but turning them into something genuinely practical. He approached several Swiss manufacturers. Most of them said no. Omega said yes. And to be clear, this is no small deal. Adopting a whole new escapement system means you now have to overhaul your movement architecture, your cases as well. Everything needs to change with this tiny component. I understand why a lot of brands didn't adopt coaxial. Once again, it is overhauling your movement architecture. It's changing your cases for something that seems so small. But it is objectively a better system, and I really respect Omega for taking that risk. It's something they didn't have to do. I think it's underappreciated and sometimes whittled down to just words we say on a spec sheet. Next, Omega makes performance measurable. They don't merely tell us their watches are accurate or resistant to magnetism, they helped create the system for which those claims can be tested. In 2015, the brand introduced the first Master Chronometer certified watch in partnership with METAS. Unlike the conventional COSC or COSC, which tests an uncased movement, Master Chronometer evaluates the completed watch, the cased watch. For most Omega calibers, the quoted daily precision standard is between 0 and +5 seconds per day. No losing time or vague statements about being within tolerances. Then, anti-magnetism. This is especially relevant in the modern era where most of us on a daily basis interact with phones, laptops, tablet covers, handbag clasps. It's no longer an obscure occupational hazard for scientists. Luxury watchmaking is full of romantic language. Look at our heritage, guys. But Omega is willing to attach measurable numbers to its promises. I deeply respect that. Omega seems to be protecting the Seamaster Diver 300 pricing in a way that has genuinely surprised me. So the standard steel Seamaster 300 on bracelet has listed for £5,600 since 2023, at least here in the UK. So the price hasn't increased or changed in 3 years, and in the current luxury watch landscape, that is remarkably restrained. I don't think many watches or brands can boast of that, even within Omega. We've watched prices increase annually. Whenever January rolls around, I'm waiting for whatever the Rolex price increases are. And these often come out of line with inflation and with no meaningful updates. So it's clear they're protecting this model family as the entry point into the brand. I can't claim to know Omega's internal reasoning, but strategically it makes sense. This remains an aspirational price, and it offers a credible step up from brands like Tudor, Longines, even Tag, while also being a value proposition when put next to the Submariner. It is insane value for money when compared to Rolex. Like ceramic dial and bezel, 300 meters of water resistance, display caseback showing the caliber 8800, automatic coaxial METAS certified movement, and a design that has stood the test of time. I know I've complained about the seemingly unending limited editions and the price of offshoot Seamasters like the No Time to Die variant, but my best guess here is they have amortized the price, allowing the entry point to remain low. Once again, this is pure speculation, but whatever the commercial reasoning, I respect the end result. In a market that has trained us to expect yearly price increases, often with no updates made to the product itself, Holding the line deserves recognition. Finally, I respect that they make watches that people actually wear, and I mean this in the accessibility department as well as the popularity. Maybe it's just where I live, but if I see someone wearing a luxury watch, it is most likely going to be a OMEGA Seamaster Diver 300. Yeah, sure, there's other things, I see the odd Rolex Submariner, whatever, but I think there is something to say for having your watches actually available to look at in shop. Like, you can walk into an AD and compare if you like the Seamaster Diver 300 over the Speedmaster or over the Longines Hydra Conquest. What works for you best? It's not waiting to get the call and you kind of feel like you need to purchase it because you've been on the waiting list for so long. I feel like if they're asking you to spend thousands of dollars or pounds or whatever your currency on their product, you should be able to judge that product in advance, and it should be exceptional, you know? For years they've told us luxury watches and all these fancy watches are so expensive because mechanical movements are so special and complex. But anyone with the internet can look up the retail prices of ETA movements, and they range from £8 to £500. So we know it's not the movement itself commanding this premium. It's the modifications that have been added by the brand, the finishing applied, the design and finishing of the overall case itself. My camera has overheated. Once again, it just keeps doing this, so I'm going to switch over to this one. But once again, if you're asking someone to drop £5,000 on a product, the finishing better be spot on. They should be able to look at it, handle it, and compare and decide whether it's worth it to them. They operate within luxury margins. People should be receiving something exceptional. Anyways, this is turning into a rant. This is what Omega always does to me. They frustrate me because it is a brand I love so much and I think they have unlimited potential. I think they need to simplify their catalog. This is not an original complaint, but I think they need to simplify their catalog, be more disciplined with special editions, redesign certain bracelets, and offer smaller sizes. But none of these criticisms cancels out what they have achieved. They backed the Daniels Co-Axial when safer companies said no. They accepted the technical difficulties in industrializing it, and they helped create a completed watch testing system, and they've protected their entry level. I have a lot of respect for that. Ooh, a hard finish. But that doesn't mean we don't thank the Pope tier patrons. Thank you to all tiers of patrons, but this part is especially for the Pope tiers of patrons whose names are on the screen now. They are the highest form of patrons. I hope you keep enjoying the work we do here. I love making it. You may have noticed I'm in a different space, so I'm trying to figure this out, make it work, maybe make a couple different sets in here. I'd like to know your feedback. I'm hoping to get better at this. Anyways, thank you so much for supporting the work we do here. I hope you keep enjoying it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye guys. Thank you.